Justice League. Imagine the world's greatest heroes realizing even they need backup. That's how the Justice League was born. They first appeared in The Brave and the Bold number 28 in 1960. Dreamed up by writer Gardner Fox and artist Mike Skowski, the story had them unite against Starro, a giant mind-controlling starfish, proving that sometimes saving Earth requires teamwork and a very weird enemy. The team became so popular that Justice League of America number 1 launched later that same year, cementing the League as DC's flagship squad. The original lineup was basically the superhero equivalent of the Beatles: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. Over time, the roster expanded to include the likes of Green Arrow, Black Canary, and later Cyborg, showing the League was more of a revolving door of legends than a fixed band. What do they do? Well, pretty much everything. Alien invasions, cosmic gods, time travel chaos, even political drama. The League is the big red panic button of the DC universe. Naturally, their villains have to be equally massive, from Despero and Amazo to Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor. In short, the Justice League isn't just a team. They're the reason DC crossovers feel like world-shaking events. Justice Society of America. Before the Justice League was even a twinkle in the DC's eye, the Justice Society of America was already showing the world how a superhero team should be done. Debuting in All-Star Comics number 3, back in the winter of 1940, the JSA was created by editor Sheldon Mayer and writer Gardner Fox as a kind of superhero sampler platter. Readers got all the hottest Golden Age characters together in one book, boosting wartime morale and proving that capes were better in groups. The founding crew included names that sound straight out of pulp magazines: Atom, Jay Garrick Flash, Sandman, Dr. Fate, Alan Scott Green Lantern, Hawkman, Hourman, and the very spooky Spectre. Over the decades, the lineup expanded with scrappy street fighters like Wildcat, science fantasy heroes like Starman and Dr. Midnight, and eventually legacy torchbearers like Stargirl and Power Girl. The JSA quickly became the DC's generational backbone, where one era of heroes handed the baton to the next. What do they do? Everything, from punching Nazis to wrestling ancient sorcery, usually from their cozy JSA Brownstone HQ. Their rogues gallery, Injustice Society, Per Degaton, Ultra Humanite, kept them busy across time and reality. In short, the JSA isn't just history. They're the living memory of DC itself. Teen Titans. Before they were icons, they were sidekicks, tired of being told to stay home. That's how the Teen Titans first came together in The Brave and Bold number 54 in 1964, created by Bob Haney and Bruno Piramani. Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad teamed up to prove that teenagers could save the day without waiting for Batman's permission. But the real turning point came in 1980 when writer Marv Wolfman and artist George Perez launched the new Teen Titans. Suddenly, the Titans weren't just backup players, they were front and center, tackling darker themes and rivaling the Justice League in popularity. Two rosters defined the team's legacy. The original group featured Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad, and Wonder Girl. But the 1980s lineup became legendary. Robin leading Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy. This mix of cosmic exiles, cursed mystics, cybernetics, and green shapeshifters made the Titans feel like the most relatable, messy, lovable superhero family DC had. Their battles often mirrored their struggles with identity and growing up. Villains like Deathstroke, Trigon, and the manipulative Hive weren't just punching bags, they forced the Titans to confront betrayal, trauma, and loyalty. At its best, this series proved that being young didn't mean being small. Doom Patrol. Some superhero teams save the world. The Doom Patrol saves the weird parts of the world no one else wants to touch. They first appeared in My Greatest Adventure number 80 in 1963, created by Arnold Drake and Bruno Piramani, and from the beginning, they were marketed as DC's band of misfits. Three ordinary people, Cliff Steele, Rita Farr, and Larry Trainor, survive freak accidents that leaves them changed forever. Their lives in ruins they've brought together by the brilliant but secretive Niles Calder, better known as the Chief, who decides the world needs heroes society would never accept. The lineup was unforgettable. Robot Man, a human brain stuck in a metal shell, Elastigirl, a movie star cursed with uncontrollable size shifting, and Negative Man, whose radioactive spirit form can leave his body, but only for 60 seconds. These weren't glossy icons. They were walking metaphors for alienation and trauma. Their missions? Fighting villains stranger than they are. The immortal warlord General Immortus, the animal and brain duo of the Brotherhood of Evil, and later the surreal absurdities of Mr. Nobody and the Brotherhood of Dada. The Doom Patrol stories were often bizarre, tragic, and deeply human. Proof that being broken doesn't mean you can still save the day. Green Lantern Corps. Before Star Wars gave us Jedi with glowing swords, DC gave us space cops with glowing rings. The Green Lantern story began in 1940 with Alan Scott, whose magic ring was more fairy tale than science. But in 1959, Showcase number 22 introduced Hal Jordan, a fearless test pilot chosen by a dying alien to carry a new kind of ring, one powered by willpower itself. From there, the concept exploded into the Green Lantern Corps, a galactic police force run by the ancient Guardians of Oa, and staffed with thousands of lanterns, each assigned to patrol their own space sector. At the center of it all are human lanterns who became fan favorites. Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Kyle Rayner. They're joined by alien allies like the drill sergeant Kilowog and an endless roster of ring bearers drawn from every corner of the universe. Together, they fight everything from small-time smugglers to universe-ending gods, channeling raw willpower through their rings to build constructs limited only by imagination. Their enemies are just as colorful. Sinestro, the fallen lantern who built his own fear-powered army, Parallax, a cosmic parasite of terror, Necron, Lord of the Dead, and Atrocitus with his rage-fueled red lanterns. For the Corps, every war is a test of will against the universe's darkest emotions. Birds of Prey. Some superhero teams punch gods. The Birds of Prey prefer breaking into mob hideouts, running black ops, and outsmarting hackers at 3 in the morning. The concept hatched in the mid-1990s when Oracle, aka Barbara Gordon, teamed up with Black Canary in Showcase 96 number 3, and then the one-shot Black Canary Oracle Birds of Prey number 1. Created by Jordan B. Gorfinkel and first scripted by Chuck Dixon, it set the tone for an intelligence-driven heroine squad that thrived on brains, grit, and a rotating cast. The lineup most fans think of is the Holy Trinity of Oracle, Black Canary, and Huntress. Barbara Gordon, working from behind the screen after The Killing Joke, became DC's informational hub. Dina Lance brought martial arts, stubborn optimism, and a scream that could shatter steel. Huntress, Helena Bertinelli, added crossbows and unresolved mafia trauma. Together, they became a Gotham-adjacent strike force, handling the dirty jobs Batman preferred to outsource. Their missions ranged from taking down crime families to infiltrating high-tech conspiracies, with Gail Simone's run in the 2010s sharpening the mix of spycraft and found family drama. Villains like the Calculator, Savant, and Creote forced Oracle to match wits as much as fists, making the Birds DC's smartest street-level squad. Outsiders. When Batman gets tired of committee meetings at the Justice League, he builds his own team. That's the Outsiders, a group introduced in 1983 as DC's answer to off-the-books superhero work. Their first appearance came in The Brave and the Bold number 200 before launching into Batman and the Outsiders number 1. The premise was simple. When the League refused to help with a politically tricky rescue, Batman walked out and assembled his own crew, willing to take risks the big names wouldn't touch. The founding roster mixed fresh faces and misfits. Geoforce brought royal power with tectonic strength. Katana carried a soul-stealing sword and a tragic past. Halo was a literal cosmic light show, and a veteran like Metamorpho rounded out the strike force. Together, they handled missions too messy, dangerous, or politically inconvenient for the League's glossy image. Their foes matched the tone. The team's debut villain, Baron Bedlam, was a warlord aiming to topple Markova's monarchy, while the mercenary Masters of Despair kept popping up with elemental chaos. The story leaned into geopolitics and personal drama, giving Batman's new family of outsiders a sharper, dirtier edge than DC's usual superhero fare. Justice League Dark. When demons crawl out of mirrors or reality itself starts melting, the Justice League calls in backup. That's where Justice League Dark comes in. DC's Supernatural Strike Force, created in 2011 with Justice League Dark number 1 by Peter Milligan and Mikel Janin. The idea was simple. Gather the magical misfits under one banner so they could handle the threats that would make Superman scratch his head and Batman reach for holy water. The first lineup was stacked with occult heavyweights. Madame Xanadu pulled the strings to bring them together. John Constantine added trench coats and a little bit of bad habits. Zatanna brought stage magic style with real firepower. Deadman floated in to haunt the scene, and Shade the Changing Man kept things unpredictable. Over time, other mystics wandered in and out, keeping the roster as unstable as the spells they cast. Their cases range from cursed artifacts to full-blown magical wars. Storylines like The Hunt for Felix Faust and The Black Room linked them to DC's biggest crossovers, while later runs unleashed terrors like The Upside Down Man and his other kind. Justice League Dark stories often feel like noir detective tales, wrapped in cosmic horror, with every victory costing something more than blood. Young Justice. Teen superheroes often get stuck as sidekicks, but in 1998, 3 boys decided to skip the babysitting and start their own squad. That's the birth of Young Justice, created by writer Peter David and artist Todd Nauck in Young Justice number 1. The team formed after Robin, Superboy, and Impulse stumbled onto a sentient vehicle called the Super Cycle and figured, why not make this official? From there, the book ran through the early 2000s as DC's teen comedy drama with capes. The core trio, Tim Drake's Robin, Connor Kent's clone Superboy, and Bart Allen's hyperactive Impulse, set the tone, which is awkward, funny, and constantly in over their heads. But the roster expanded quickly. Wonder Girl brought mythical firepower, Arrowette mixed archery with teen sass, and Secret added a literal ghost kid to the family. Their chemistry gave the series its heart. A team built less on strategy than on friendship, hormones, and sheer momentum. Adventures ranged from goofy misfires to world-saving rescues, often packed with snappy dialogue and awkward coming-of-age drama. What's crazy is their villains reflected that mix too. From the ridiculous Mighty Endowed to the terrifying violent Harm, plus DO agents who treated them as fugitives. Young Justice thrived on chaos, but always felt like the most authentic teen team DC had. Checkmate. In the DC universe, espionage comes with capes and code names, and Checkmate is the agency that treats world security like a literal chessboard. Born out of the agency in the late 1980s, the organization first appeared in Action Comics number 598 before getting its own title, Checkmate number 1, in 1988. Created by Paul Kupperberg and Steve Irwin, with John Byrne's fingerprints on its early continuity, the group was designed to mix cloak and dagger spy work with metahuman oversight. The structure is pure chess cosplay. Kings and queens give the orders, bishops strategize, knights run field ups, and pawns do the dangerous work. In its earliest form, Harry Stein and Amanda Waller played key leadership roles, while operatives like Gary Washington handled the frontline action. The 2006 relaunch under Greg Rucka pushed the idea further, recasting Checkmate as a UN-sanctioned Black Ops force led by figures like Sasha Bordeaux, Mr. Terrific, and even Alan Scott. Their missions cover everything, from political sabotage to countering superhuman cults, and their files read like the worst-case scenario playbook of the DC universe. Villains include Cobra's terrorist network, Brother Eye's Omax, and Leviathan Cells. In short, Checkmate is the paranoid middle ground between James Bond and Justice League politics. The Secret Six. Some teams save the world. The Secret Six can barely save themselves. The name first appeared in 1968's Secret Six number 1, but the modern, more infamous version was born out of Villains United in 2005. There, a shadowy figure called Mockingbird pulled together a handful of criminals for sabotage work, setting the stage for Gail Simone's much-loved Secret Six ongoing series starting in 2006. The group's heart, if you could say that, was a rotating cast of rogues who were too dangerous, unstable, or morally compromised for anyone else. Catman, once a D-list Batman foe, got a career revival as a feral anti-hero. Deadshot brought his deadpan triggerfinger. Scandal Savage, daughter of Vandal, fought like she had nothing to lose. Ragdoll delivered creep factor with flexible limbs and a cracked sense of humor. Bane, Knockout, Jeanette, and others drifted in and out because membership was as stable as a broken chair. Their jobs were Black Ops contracts, heists, and dirty work no hero would touch. But the real drama came from inside. Betrayals, rivalries, and that ever-looming question of who was pulling the strings. The Six rarely saved the day, but their mix of brutality and dark comedy made every failure unforgettable. Batman Incorporated. Imagine Batman as a brand, but instead of sneakers or soda, the product is crime fighting. That's the pitch behind Batman Incorporated, launched in 2011 by Grant Morrison as the final act of his long Batman saga. Coming out of Batman and Robin and the return of Bruce Wayne, this series took Bruce's mission and scaled it up. If Gotham needed a Batman, why shouldn't the world? The team was a jet-setting mix of international recruits and Bat Family regulars. There was Knight and Squire in the UK, Batwing in Africa, Night Runner in Paris, El Guacho in Argentina, Dark Ranger in Australia, plus local vigilantes handpicked to carry the symbol. Back home, Damian Wayne and Red Robin got pulled into the experiment, turning the family drama into a worldwide operation. Bruce didn't just hand out costumes. He bankrolled gear, set up networks, and turned the Bat Emblem into a kind of global law enforcement brand. The stories followed everything from slick recruitment missions to brutal counter-terror strikes, all wrapped in Morrison's mix of pulpy weirdness and operatic stakes. The big enemy was Leviathan, Talia al Ghul's shadow army, and her terrifying weapon, the Heretic, Damian's own clone. Until this team, global expansion never looked so dangerous. Secret Society of Supervillains. Think of the Secret Society of Supervillains as the Justice League's evil group chat, except it's always one bad day away from exploding. First launched in 1976 by Gary Conway and Pablo Marcos, the society was built on a simple, chaotic idea. What if all the villains teamed up under a mysterious benefactor to finally crush the heroes? The original series only ran 15 issues, but it gave DC a permanent framework for mass villain recruitment. The lineup was never been stable. Villains aren't exactly known for teamwork. The first roster featured Sinestro, Star Sapphire, Captain Cold, Mirror Master, and Shadow Thief. By 2005's Villains United, the society had grown into a sprawling army led by what looked like Lex Luthor, thought it turned to be Alexander Luthor Jr. The inner circle included Talia al Ghul, Deathstroke, Black Adam, and Dr. Psycho, with Calculator pulling strings from the shadows. Later versions ballooned into practically every rogue with a rap sheet, especially during Forever Evil. Their goals are simple: overwhelm the heroes, control the underworld, and occasionally try to take over the world. The real problem? The society eats itself from the inside. Leaders betray lieutenants, schemes implode, and the biggest enemy of the secret society always ends up being the secret society. Justice League International. In 1987, DC decided the Justice League didn't need more gods, it needed more awkward co-workers. That's how Justice League number 1 landed courtesy of Keith Griffin, J.M. DeMatteis, and Kevin Maguire. By issue number 7, it was officially Justice League International, and the tone had shifted into sharp, funny, character-driven storytelling that felt more like The Office with capes than Olympus on Earth. The lineup was wonderfully chaotic mix: Batman as the brooding straight man, Martian Manhunter as the weary parent, Black Canary, Blue Beetle, and Booster Gold forming comics' greatest bromance, Guy Gardner pushing everyone's buttons, and Mr. Miracle trying to survive it all. Later, recruits like Captain Atom and Rocket Red just added to the dysfunctional charm. Instead of grim cosmic wars, JLI went globe-trotting and bureaucratic. They handled PR nightmares, clumsy diplomacy, and absurd rescue missions while still fighting off alien threats. The magic was in the banter. Heroes learning to function as a team despite wildly different agendas. Their villains also matched the tone. Queen Bee's schemes in issue number 16, Manga Khan's cosmic antics in number 14, and the bumbling Injustice League in number 23 made the threats as funny as they were dangerous. Well, that's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers, and see you in the next one.